are that we have been robbed by the Land Use Act, that the surface rights belong to us, but the rights inside of our land belongs to the federal government. It's a taboo, and we will stand against it anywhere, anytime. We speak against it anywhere, anytime. As governor, as an ordinary citizen.
On behalf of Prince Biscon Tv, the chairman and CEO of Biscon Communications, his wife, Princess Folashade Olatilo, and the entire Biscon Communication family, we pray that God grant the soul of Chief Solomon Dipriye Alamisia continued rest. Amen. He was very close to the Biscon family. Biscon TV, beyond the screen. Step into the future of visibility with Biscon TV live streaming on YouTube, where your story, your event, your brand travels farther than the television screen can ever go. With crystal clear visuals, real-time coverage, and instant accessibility, we break the barriers of distance and time, putting your content in the palms of millions around the globe. And here's the power of it all. It's not just a moment. It's a full coverage on YouTube. Your event stays live, stored, and ready for viewers to watch again and again. No missed moments, no lost memories, just evergreen visibility, replayable at any time, anywhere in the world. And we don't just stop at YouTube. Your visibility multiplies as we spread your voice across Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, the very platforms where the world's conversations happen. From reels that trend in seconds, to streams that keep fans glued, to highlights that go viral, your content becomes part of the global digital buzz. With Biscon TV, your event is not confined to a hall or a city. It's open to the world. Your wedding in Lagos can be witnessed in London. Your corporate launch in Abuja can trend in New York. A community celebration in Ogun can light up feeds in Dubai. That's the power of Biscon TV live streaming. Limitless reach, borderless connection. Your audience doesn't just watch, they engage, they comment, they share, they spread your story further than you imagined. Whether you're celebrating love, launching a product, covering a political milestone, or telling your brand story, with Biscon TV, you're not just being seen, you're being remembered. So, when you think of impact, think more than television. Think of presence. Think of influence. Think of Biscon TV, powering visibility, connecting the world, and keeping you live everywhere. Biscon TV, not just on TV. We're everywhere.
Coming to you live from our studios here in Lagos, Nigeria, this is Biscon TV News. I'm Ime Emmanuel. Now let's look at the top stories making the news this hour. On the national scene, INEC reports over 7.4 million pre-registrants in 8 weeks. And the federal government orders VCs to enforce no work, no pay policy against striking lecturers. In business, federal government owes Gencos fresh 1 trillion naira in 6 months. On the foreign scene, Netanyahu praises Trump as greatest friend Israel ever had during historic Jerusalem address. In sport, Bendel Insurance appoints Kennedy Boboye as new technical advisor. Now the news in detail. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has announced that a total of 7,415,760 Nigerians completed their online pre-registration during week 8 of the continuous voter registration exercise, which covered the period from October 6 to 12, 2025. The figures were released by the Commission on Monday. According to the update, 3,877,330 of the registrants were female, representing 52.28%, while 3,430 registrants were male, accounting for 47.72%. Borno State recorded the highest number of voter pre-registration in the country with a total of 783,546 entries, followed by Osun State, which registered 632,751 individuals, and Lagos with 590,341 pre-registration. Meanwhile, the federal government has directed vice-chancellors of federal universities to immediately implement the no work, no pay policy on members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities (ASU) participating in the ongoing nationwide strike. The directive was contained in a circular dated October 13, 2025 and signed by the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa. In the circular, the ministry expressed disappointment over the continued industrial action by ASU despite repeated appeals for dialogue. It warned that the government would no longer tolerate actions that breach existing labor laws. And still on the news, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, has applauded the National Association of Judges of Nigeria following its admission as a member of the International Association of Judges, which main objective is to safeguard the independence of the judiciary and to guarantee human rights and freedom. She described it as a moment of pride and privilege for Nigeria to join a community of judges committed to the rule of law, judicial independence, and the protection of human rights. The NAJN, which will represent Nigeria at the Global Judicial Body, was admitted during the 67th annual meeting of the National Association of Judges of Nigeria, which will represent Nigeria at the Global Judicial Body, was admitted during the 67th annual meeting of the International Association of Judges held in Baku, Azerbaijan, making Nigeria the 93rd member of the association. The Nigeria's agricultural sector is set for a major financing boost as the European Union has approved a £190 million, about 320.5 billion naira credit line to expand lending to farmers and agribusinesses through Nigerian commercial banks and development finance institutions. The facility was announced during a bilateral meeting between senior European Investment Bank executive and a delegation from the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, confirmed in a statement issued on Monday by the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning Special Advisor on Media, Bolaji Adeniyi. Currently, Nigeria already benefits from several EU-supported programs, including an £18 million technical assistance grant and a £50 million credit facility to deepen access to finance in the pharmaceutical industry. The latest EU-Nigerian financing deal is expected to support Nigeria's effort to modernize its agricultural sector, improve food security, and strengthen export competitiveness. Now let's take a quick break from here. When we come back, it will be business news. Stay tuned. And in business, the federal government's debt owed to electricity generation companies has risen to 1.05 trillion naira in the first half of 2025. And this is the outstanding power subsidy payment to electricity generation companies covering the first and second quarter of the year. A report by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission's second quarter report for 2025 showed that the government incurred a subsidy obligation of 514.35 billion in the second quarter, following 536.40 billion naira in the first quarter, bringing the total to over 1.05 trillion naira in the first 6 months of the year. According to NERC, the rising obligation is due to the continued absence of cost-reflective tariff, forcing the government to pay the difference between the actual cost of generation and what consumers are charged. And up next is foreign news. Stay tuned. You're watching the news on Biscon TV now. Let's move to the foreign scene where Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu delivered a tribute to US President Donald Trump, calling him the greatest friend that the State of Israel has ever had in the White House. During a high-profile address in Jerusalem marking the return of hostages and the enduring US-Israel alliance, Netanyahu emphasized Trump's pivotal role in recent historic and military development, expressing gratitude for several landmarks such as the Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, 2020 peace plan, and the ancestral homeland of the Jewish people. He went on to still thank Trump on behalf of himself and the nation for supporting military initiatives like Operation Rising Lion and Operation Midnight Hammer. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, it will be sports news. Stay tuned. Audio
Hello and welcome to Sports segment on Biscon TV News. Bendel Insurance have confirmed the appointment of Kennedy Boboye as their new technical advisor. The former Nigerian international replaces Greg Ikenoba, who was sacked 2 weeks ago following the team's poor start to the season. According to the club's management, Boboye's appointment takes immediate effect under a 2-year contract based on his proven track record and experience in the Nigeria Premier Football League. The 51-year-old tactician will be officially unveiled in Benin on Tuesday. Bendel Insurance recently lost 1-0 to Ikorodu City in their NPFL Matchday 8 fixture in Lagos. Now, ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers, Benin Republic captain Steve Money says the Cheetahs are in Uyo to defeat the Super Eagles of Nigeria in their 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier. The crucial Matchday 10 encounter takes place on Tuesday at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium in Uyo. Benin currently top Group C with 17 points and need only a draw to qualify for their first ever World Cup, depending on results elsewhere. Moni, who scored in their last win over Rwanda, says his team is determined to make history. He assured that the Cheetahs will give everything to secure their tickets to the global showpiece. That's all on sports.
And finally, on entertainment, rapper Emeka Akumefule, popularly known as Black Bones, has unveiled the track list for his highly anticipated fourth studio album, No Excuses, set to be released on October 17, 2025. The album features a lineup of 15 guest artists from Africa and beyond. The album also boasts of collaboration with notable artists such as UK rapper AJ Tracy, Nigerian heavyweight Olamide Fino, Young John, Barry J, Sinaliski, and many more. And No Excuses is poised to further cement Black Bones' position as one of Africa's most creative and commercially viable artists, and following the success of his previous projects Sex Over Love and Young Preacher. And that's it on the news on Biscon TV, but before we go, let's look at the major highlights of the news again. The national scene INEC records over 7.4 million pre-registrant in 8 weeks. The federal government orders vice chancellors to enforce no work, no pay policy against striking lecturers. And in business, we told you that federal government is owing Genicos fresh 1 trillion naira in 6 months. On the foreign scene, Netanyahu praises Trump as the greatest friend Israel ever had and during historic Jerusalem address. And in sports, we told you that Bendel Insurance has appointed Kennedy Boboye as new technical advisor. The news was compiled and produced by David Asha and Ime Emmanuel. Many thanks for watching.
Hello there. This is BC Olatila broadcasting from our corporate headquarters in Lagos. Biscon TV's top stories, the key stories in the front pages of the newspapers for today. Beginning with this day newspaper today, by the way, is Monday, the 13th of October, 2025. Although celebrating birthdays and other ceremonies, we wish you good luck. Many happy returns. Now, we take the first story. Wale Edun indisposed as Cardoso leads delegation to World Bank IMF meeting in Washington, D.C., that's in the United States. There's been some rumors flying on the social media that the indisposition, which the presidency has said, yes, he's indisposed, but not as serious as being proclaimed all over the place. You don't play politics with people's health, please. Arise News Channel will be concerned over Maduago with improved security and healthcare system. Yesterday, Arise News came under one roof with many people to do a final goodbye to that wonderful young woman who died at the age of 29. Could have been saved if our security and healthcare system were in tops. So that's what Arise is saying. Improve the security system and the health system, not to get involved in such issues that we may not be able to have if we have done it properly. May God bless this woman, this lady, Somto Chukwu Maduago, who died at 29. Caught in her prime, by the way. Federal government threatens no work, no pay as ASU begins 2-week warning strike today. Education Minister Alausa says lecturers not interested in keeping students in class. Reveals government has demonstrated good faith, met almost all demands, but union intransigent. Konwa and NAMDA insist that members not joining strike. That's another new members that incorporate all of this. So, well, if ASU is saying they're going on strike and Kona and NAMDA are saying no, then they've divided their ranks. That's what government has done. We can see pictures of the night of remembrance for Somto Chukwu Maduago yesterday. You can see faces of the chairman of Arise News on this day, Prince Nduka Baigbena, former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshiomhole, and Senator Ume, and of course, Anthony, our friend and brother. Quite a lot of them are there. In fact, we're happy to hear that the First Lady of Enugu State also joined. May God bless this young woman. Well, that's it for this day, for today, Monday, 13th of October, 2025. Daily Trust. Flood kills 236 persons in 27 states in FCT. Flood in FCT? That's sounding strange. Strike, no work, no pay. FG warns ASU. 3 more Katsina local government signed peace pact with bandits. That should not be the case. I've heard so much about this. There seems to be some truth behind it. Signing pacts with bandits. Like somebody said, you're giving them more money to go and get better weapons to deal with innocent citizens. We'll get details of this on page 2, so you dissect it, you go through it and see what we make of it. Kano issues alert over rising Lassa fever risk. Zenith Bank pays 51.3 billion naira interim dividend. Well, that's to do with some money issues now. Objections over pardon for grave offenders. Well, the president has the sole right to do what he did, but people will play politics with just any issue. All right, let's go now. We're done with Daily Trust. Let's now face New Telegraph. Still about the ASU begins 2-week warning strike, says members' intellectual capital being drained as federal government threatens no work, no pay. Says it met all unions' concerns once against academic calendar disruption. Public universities lost 309 professors in 9 months. Union is saying that. Why ASOP suspended planned strike. Go to pages 2, 4, and 7 of the New Telegraph for details of this. Emerging transnational security threats. How ECOWAS court instrumentality can be used to end insecurity. Lawyers are proffering some reasons for it. Nigeria's stand on Israeli-Palestinian conflict triggered Christian genocide. I actually was watching this interview yesterday on one of the platforms, television platforms, by Daniel Buala. He's saying that Nigeria's stance on Israeli-Palestinian conflict triggered Christian genocide claim by the senator from the United States. Already, Israel expects hostages to be released. They've started being released already. Well, that's about it for the Telegraph. Now, the Vanguard. 100 billion naira loan sparks war of words between Allah, that's Otom governor, Allah and Otom in Benue State. Allah is the governor, actually. Otom is the former governor. They belong to different parties. Otom in PDP, Allah in APC. Non-oil exports. Local investors lose out of 4.8 trillion naira. Boom. That's one thing we should look at properly. Foreign rivals wielding cheap capital, sidestepping export rules, outmuscle local operators, stakeholders decry funding crisis, port bottlenecks, analysts demand shift in value addition, NEPC reacts. That's the thing that not everybody can discuss properly. You can't fight drug by freeing traffickers. ADC slams Tinubu. Renowned activist Abiodun Aremu killed by hit-and-run driver. State regulators ask the National Assembly to hold central gaming bill. Back to the ASU problem again. ASU shuns federal government, insists on strike over unresolved demands. How ASU strike averted talks on 2009 agreement. Well, U.S. genocide debate sparked by FG's failures. Olawepo was saying this. Of course, Olawepo is of the PDP. Prostate. Lagos hospital performs first UroLift surgery in Nigeria. It means that you don't have to travel all over the world to get treatment for this. Lagos State, that must be Lasso. I hear so much about what Lasso is doing in that regard. Now the Tribune takes over from the Vanguard. INEC chairman, 12 hurdles, Amukwetam may face when it's being screened. We're waiting for that to happen. Presidency confirms Edun's ill health. CBN governor leads Nigeria's delegation to World Bank IMF meeting in Washington, D.C. Federal government threatens no work, no pay as ASU declares 2-week strike in the first instance, according to them. I can see pictures of Nigerians with their cooking gases, empty cooking gases, on the line in search for alternatives over scarcity of cooking gas. That's on page 5 of the Tribune. That's a human angle story. Now the Punch takes over from Tribune. Edo recovering, no plans for replacement, the presidency. Naira hits 10-month high on strong FX inflows. 2027, no pact with Jonathan, says Obi. Fubara retains 8 commissioners, prepares fresh nominees list. All of this, front pages of the Punch. Back again to ASU. ASU rejects federal government's proposal, begins 2-week strike today. Union snubs government's peace talks over unpaid arrears. Others insist on industrial action. They are already on it. Federal government says no work, no pay. NANS commences move to resolve lingering crisis. Tinubu under fire over presidential pardon for drug offenders. That's on page 18 of the Punch. More Kwara abductees rescued as military sustains pressure on bandits. That's a good story. Killings. Adeleke denies hiding Amotekun commander, blasts APC. 2 arrested over mourner's death at Osun funeral party. That's it from the Punch. Now, the Nation newspapers. Why Tinubu should be in office till 2031 by Umahi, a very great supporter of Tinubu, the works minister. Businessman excretes 127 cocaine wraps. Dangote Cement begins operations in Côte d'Ivoire, hits Côte d'Ivoire with 3.0 meters. Finance Minister Edo didn't suffer a stroke, says presidency. On page 2, go there, read and get details of it. Federal government to ASU, strike may trigger no work, no pay rule. Ministers will made comprehensive offers. Strike from today inevitable, say lecturers. Rampers over introduction of lottery bill in House of Reps after Supreme Court judgment. Go to page 5 of today's Nation newspapers. We have 2 more to go. The Guardian. Prioritize ending impunity for electoral offences, Sirap tells new INEC chair. Go to page 5 for details of this. IMF World Bank meeting. Cardoso, that's a CBN governor, leads team as federal government confirms Edu is indisposed. ASU FG talks end in stalemate as Konwa breaks ranks. Prerogative of mercy. Criticisms, outrage, suspicion trail presidential pardon of 175 people. Security concerns. Tinubu NSA NIA boss join meeting in Rome. Of course, you know Mr. President is in Rome, and these other officials have joined him. Federal government revokes Mararaba Kefi road contract over negligence and faulty design. Go to page 30. For details of this. Psychologist blames lifestyle, other reasons for emotional instability among youths. Presidency Sultan others commit to friendly girl-child policies. We must draw our girl children closer to ourselves. And our politics. Mba's exit ends PDP's stake dominance in Southeast. Well, we're waiting for that to happen. As of now, it still remains street talk until we see it happen. They are saying tomorrow, but let's wait and see. The Guardian is giving yielding position to the Sun. Free Kano protest. Igbo women back Showore as brother warns against playing politics with his health. Masop joins protests. Comments Wazirike and volunteers who are helping that. Atiku ADC knock president over pardon for criminals serving jail terms. Federal government to ASU, no work, no pay, as union begins 2-week strike. Parents beg teachers to reconsider move actually. Drug war, man 52 excretes 127 cocaine wraps concealed in private part at Kano Airport. God, what are we not going to do for money? CBN mops up 2 trillion naira from banks to curb inflation on productive lending. Mba's exit marks PDP's end in Southeast Okechukwu. Zenith Bank shows strong outlook with 51.3 billion naira interim dividend payout. And that's it. And what the papers say today in their various top stories, especially the front pages of the newspapers. My name is BC Olatilo. Thanks very much for watching.
The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Fidelity Bank PLC, Mr. Nnamdi Okonkwo, pampered his beautiful and forever young-looking wife, Mrs. Uchenna Okonkwo, to a lavish 50th birthday dinner on